we can do monitoring of my web application, virtual machine, and how we can do logging and all those scenario here. Okay, so here is my introduction, and coming to the topics which we'll be covering as part of this, like we have Azure Monitor, we have App Insight, and there are a lot of things which Azure gives you. Okay, and we'll be seeing here like how, like have you used anywhere Google Analytics or anything which gives you? So any idea on Google Analytics and what
We
all
have
information you?
we have used Neuralink, Shadab.
Okay, yeah,
Neuralink and Dynatrace.
yeah, correct. Yeah. So this is actually another thing which generally you have. If you go to the portal, there is something called Monitor, Azure Monitor you have. And let's see here. This gives you a feature like you can go ahead and monitor your virtual machine, storage account, containers, network, Cosmos DB, and there are multiple things which you can go ahead and use. Okay, so let's suppose that I want to go to my activity log. Actually, it gives me a complete snapshot what I have done in 6 hours, 24 hours. Those you can go ahead and check. So what I have done in my subscription, I am just querying here my subscription and all event. You can see here what all the resources I have created and what all things I have did. Okay, so updating Reddish cache, viewing, validating database. So these are the activity which I have did. If even I can go ahead and go to the storage account and I can see what I have did in last 12 hours. Okay, so these are my one of the certificate data, how many transaction has happened and what was the latency, what was the server things. So these are the monitor server, like Azure Monitor, this is called. Okay, and if I go to my certificate, uh, okay, and this is my certificate database, how much it's available. So availability percentage you have, transactions you have, and all this information you have as part of your Azure Monitor. Okay, and so let's suppose that you can go ahead and set a policy on those things. Generally, let's click on this. Again, there is an alert has been created. Let's suppose that someone has uh, creating an application or something happened on resource group. Okay, so you can go ahead and create your rules on that. Just you can click on rules, and whenever this is happening, this condition matches. So this is, you can see the condition when the activity log on the event category administrator level this and the status is success. So what action I want to do, I can do a multiple action here. Actually, I can trigger SMS, email, or any other thing. So generally this it will help you when let's suppose that your web application is getting shut down. So you might get an alert here like your application is shutting down or anything happening. So you can go ahead and automate those things, like whenever my application is going down, go ahead and restart the application back. So these are things which you can do as part of Azure Monitor, and you can do monitor your virtual machine, a storage account, and container, Cosmos DB, anything which you have, you will get alert here in Azure Monitor. So this is the one feature which you get. Another thing, you have the application insight. Okay, there is application insight here. You can go ahead and create application insight here. And generally, when you create a web application, we get an option to enable application insight. You can go ahead and enable your application insight for your application, like .NET application or anything. So you can see here your create application insight resource and monitor your live web application with application insight. You have a full of observability into their application across all components and dependency for the complex distributed architecture. Okay, so you can go ahead and perform this action. You can go ahead and write the code in .NET, Java, or anything. You can go ahead and write, and you can store your data in application insight. And I'll just select 9 site. Okay. So here I'm creating an STS. Again, you have the here's the solution. This is giving me the log analytics workspace. Like if I have not created a workspace, okay. So first you have to create a workspace, and then you have to link your application inside to monitor that application. Okay. So let's see here. This is the Azure Monitor. It talks about the Azure Monitor first. So basically, log analytics is part of your Azure Monitor. Okay, so Azure Monitor is to maximize your availability performance of your application. Okay, basically you can deliver application. Okay, it helps you to understand how your application is performing and protective identification issues, and like you can go ahead and write your application and such a way where if anything has happening, and then you can do a trigger and workflow integration you can do. So you can see here, this is a unified monitoring, a common place. You can do a monitoring for metrics and log and other monitoring telemetries. And based on this, you can do also data-driven metrics, like you can check that how many times the log is happening, and then based on your analytics count, and then you create a workflow. Like I want to trigger a workflow to restart the application. Like my application is shutting down, and you get a alert in Azure Monitor, and you automate that process to go ahead and restart your application. That's how you can do it. Okay, so this is the Azure Monitor overview is here. You can see here on left side, you have the application operating system resources, subscription team, all those things is getting stored in your monitor. So just now we have seen that Azure Monitor stores your metrics and logs. Okay, and based on that, you can create your app insight. You can have application, container, VMs, or you can visualize, like create a database, and you can present to your management, like this is how my application is performing, like uptime, downtime, all those information you get as part of this metrics and logs. Okay, again, as I told you, like you can still go ahead and integrate that, and you can create event hub, and based on event hub, you can take an action on the logic app, all those things which you can do it. Again, you have the alert thing available here. So these are how you can utilize your Azure Monitor. You can see here, just now we have seen that as part of Azure portal, you have the log and you have the metrics. Log means it's detailed information about the what had happened, like application server uptime, and which resource got restarted, which application database is getting used. So all those information you have. Metrics is again giving you the uptime and the CPU utilization. All those metrics you get as part of your Azure Monitor. Okay, so again, you have the alert defined here, like you can create an alert. I just shown you that you can go ahead and see that your virtual machine is shutting down, or your application is shutting down. You can go ahead and in the monitor section, and you can create an alert. Okay, and based on that alert, you can have the action written it. Okay. So, like if you have web application, you can use application insight. So we'll be coming next in application insight. Okay. So here you can see again, you have alerts for workflow, like you have diagnostic log, resource metrics, and availability activity logs available. So in the Azure Monitor, you can create a rules. If criteria matches, like this many times the error has happened, or some resource has got failed, you can trigger an email, SMS, or you can call any of the web API link, which can go ahead and trigger any alert to your administrator, so that they can go ahead and start your application. So if you have email, and in email you can create a rule, like there will be some approval thing or anything which you can create with your logic app again. And once administrator approve, okay, go ahead and do that activity. So finally your automation thing can go ahead and automatically run those things and create your application back, or start your application back. So these are things you can achieve from your as part of monitor. You don't have to do a manual activity. Okay, so you can create automation, and which works for you. Okay. Generally, you can have a CPU, like a simple example which you can take, like if CPU percentage goes more than 70% and the response time is greater than 4 millisecond, and something you're getting error, and then you want to do any action, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. Again, there is something called alert monitoring. So whenever the alert is getting created, there will be first stage where the alert will be created as new state. Then administrator go ahead and acknowledge that. So someone is working on that alert. So they'll acknowledge that, and finally, when the alert has been acknowledged and some action has been taken, so they can go ahead and close that alert. Okay. So this is part of Azure Monitor. Okay, if I'm coming to the next topic, which is application insight. So application insight is, again, you can say it's part feature of Azure Monitor. Okay, you are getting this feature out of the Azure Monitor itself. So you can say Azure Monitor is the parent where you have all the logs and data. Application insight, you can say this is the you can say as a child of Azure Monitor, which gives a feature. Okay, this is like an extensible application platform management. So this is called APM, extensible application platform management, and this is basically created for your developers and DevOps professionals. Okay, where you can do monitor your live application. So let's suppose that I have deployed my application on web, and I want to do a telemetric data from my live application. Okay, so that I can use application insight, and that helps you like automatically detect my performance and those activity from my application. Okay, so this is basically app insight. If we talk, we can do for our web application and all those things. So let's suppose that this is the application insight architecture which here. Okay, and like this is the web application, and something like this is the server-side coding you have, and you some plugin you need to install actually to work with App Insight. So you need to install a small instrumentation package in your application. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you have to do a setup in your application. You have to write a small set of code. Okay, so that your application will start writing the your data in App Insight. Okay, and even you can do from your web application, even you can do from your server-side code. Okay, and any backend services which is there, again you can do that. So all this data is going to write inside the application insight, and then in application insight will take action based on the alert, Power BI. Again, you can from the application insight you have the multiple things which you can do it. Okay, so this is how it does. Okay, you can and that you can do it. Okay, let's suppose that you have the application in JavaScript, and you can go ahead and add. Generally, when you go with the Google Analytics, they gives a unique key, or any of the application like App Insight. If you want to store from your application, they gives a unique key where you have to append that key in your application, so that your application is linked with that particular application, and your data is getting written in the Google Analytics or App Insight. But if you have the server-side code, like you have created a like desktop application or anything which is running in the backend services, how you can do that? Okay, so that also you have multiple things to do it. So again, you can write your .NET code or in JavaScripting code, and that can be used. So just this is the a small like this is the C app insight for web app. So you have a JavaScript written. So you can see here there is an instrumentation key, your instrumentation key. This is how this is you get from the App Insight. This is you get from the Google Analytics and other any application which store the insight of your application. They gives you a particular unique key. So you just append in your JavaScript, and that works actually. So this is how the insight. So this application starts sending your or Google Analytics start taking the insight of your application from your application. So this is how it works actually. Again, if you have the web page, and you don't have the JavaScript on that, again, you can go ahead and write your code in configuration file, and you can use those. Even if you have the console application, you want to write application inside from your console application, you don't have JavaScript code in your .NET application or your console application. So what you will do, you have to use this NuGet package, and this is the simple key, very instrumental key you have to pass, and you have to create a telemetry client, and then you pass your data to your app inside. So you can use from your JavaScript, you can use from your .NET console application. Okay, this is how you have to do. And again, if you have a desktop application which is not running in your web, and something in your local application it is running, again, you can go ahead and create a form class for your desktop application. You can go ahead and use those as well. So any of the application, it's independent. Like you can see here, we have the variety of application which is going and writing the data in the app inside. Okay. So not only web application, you can go ahead for your console application, desktop application, or any of the application which is going to write. So those you can go ahead and do that. So there are other tool as well available here. So how this data is getting collected from Azure Monitor, if you talk about. So this is like Azure Monitor can collect data from application monitoring, guest OS, application resources, subscription, and tenant. So anywhere, this is one of the Azure Monitor is capable to collect the data from the application. So these are the data source available with your application. Okay. And again, if you see here, Azure Monitor sources, you have you can auto scale, notification services, app insight. So there are a variety of application available with your application to integrate with your Azure Monitor to instead of to give the performance for your application and monitor those resources. Again, it talks about the application insight overview and how you can go ahead and monitor. Okay, so whenever you have created an application insight, create application insight. Okay, so when you create application insight, you get complete graphical things like this, and you have that how many data is coming from which location you are getting data. So all this information you get in your application insight. So what is the uptime, what is the request response, things you got, and completely diagnostics you get as part of app insight. So this is again application map has been given here. Okay, so how your mapping works and how you can go ahead and do. So here you can see there is one instance is running, and you have this storage account, you have the SQL server, and other how this is the actually graphical things which shows in the app inside. So this is the mapping things you can see in the app inside, like how your request is getting processed from your application. Okay, so you can go ahead and use those things as well. These are the components which is available again, which talks about the how you can write the code and telemetry information and the application mapping configuration. So these are the information which is available as part. Again, you have the PowerShell written here, and to get and retrieve a specific operation. So you can multiple things you can do with the monitor. Even you can go ahead and take these data in your application inside and use those. So these are the things which you can go ahead and do. Okay, again, you have this automation done, like you can go ahead and monitor these errors, and based on that, you can do a retry count, and you can transmit your data as part of your like code you can check, and then based on that, you can do a retry count, and this can be done as part of your code. So this is talks about the monitoring and the logging part. Okay, and if you come to the lab again, we have one lab activity as part of this again, where it talks about your monitor and optimize how you can monitor, how you can deploy your application inside, and those things. Just you can go ahead and use those as well. So any question as part of this monitoring thing, which just now we have covered?
Shadab, this is Karthik Shadab.
Yeah.
So this is all with respect to, I mean, the name says app insights. It's only with the application, right? Suppose I have a scenario like for some reason, some method is, I mean, some piece of logic is failing. So do I get anywhere that log like which method with which data it is actually failing, something like that? Apart from this application insights. I mean, I see these all are like infrastructural informations or like alarms or alerts. So anywhere I can get actual logic logs or
Correct.
something like that.
So I talk about Azure Monitor. So you can see this Azure Monitor is a superset, and you get data from multiple resources. Even you have Azure resources, subscription, operating system, and application. So if you talk about Azure Monitor, it's a top level, and here you get logs from the different resources. Okay. But if we talk about application insights, what is application insight? This is where your application works. Okay, so when I create a web application, if I go ahead and create my app services, we have option to enable app insight in the app services. Okay, so that you can go ahead and I think it will be monitoring part. Where you can just click on
Right.
app insight and you just enable your application. So what
Right.
it does, it just link my web app with the app insight, and you have to write something called custom code. So if you have your JavaScript enabled, you just add your instrumentation key in your application header, and your data will be start written. Everything will be start writing in your app. Again, if you have the code level something which you want to do, again, if you see here my console application and
Oh,
any other application, like you can go ahead and write your custom thing as well in
okay.
app insight. So by default it takes your overall data, like from where data is coming, how many requests is getting processed, and how much is taking time. That's correct. But again, if you want something specific to the application, even you can go ahead and write,
Right.
and
Right.
based on that you can go and take action on that as well. So application insight can have your log and analytics, complete your feature where you have the matrix as well. So you can check that error based on your rules defined, and based on your rule you can take action as also. So
Oh,
you can do that. That's possible very much.
okay. So something like exception model where we can implement and any error happening, it gets hit to that piece of code and that can again log to our Azure.
Correct, you can do
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's suppose that I'm trying to write something in the backend services, and I connection has failed. Again, you can go ahead and write an application side, and you can have a trigger on alert defined. So you can do that.
Okay.
That's very much possible at all.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's it for today as part of this two module. Okay.